Good morning, everybody, and we are live. Man, it's good. I'm glad to be here with you. You're going to love this. We're going to start with one of our little palate cleansers. So fill your cups, grab a pen and paper. We're going to have a roundtable discussion at the end of this. Got a lot coming out of the Supreme Court. Let's do this. Good morning, Christy. Canada in the house. That's what I'm talking about. Let's get as many people as possible in here. Hit that thumbs up button. Look, we got a little bit of heavy stuff to talk about today. We really do. So let's go ahead and start with something, a little bit of a palate cleanser, something a little bit happy, something a little bit unrelated to the news and things that are going on. You're going to love this. You're going to love this. The comment on this is he's been waiting his whole life for this. And I agree. 100%. I agree. You're going to love this. You got to wait to the end, folks. Here we go. You gotta love Mets fans. Wait for it.
Right there.
Oh my God, you gotta love Mets fans. That's Citi Field. That was in Citi Field. That's all. They've got the big jumbotron at Citi Field. First of all, to come to a baseball game dressed like that, it's just, you got to love this guy. But they absolutely called it. This guy's been waiting his whole life for this moment. Love it. Love it. Love it. Well, let's talk about something, depending on your perspective, just as funny, but a little bit more troubling, a little bit more stupid. Here, I'll play the video and then we'll.
Rocket Company is the only reason we can now send American astronauts into space. Take over, Elijah. Rocket Company is the only reason we can now send.
Is it my piss poor old man shot too much without adequate hearing protection or did he just call him Elanya?
American astronauts into space. Take over, Elijah.
I believe he just did. Putting brains called. Whether you like Elon Musk or don't like Elon Musk, pretty much everybody knows who Elon Musk is. I mean, Donald Trump has just got pudding for brains. He does. He calls the guy calls him Leon, calls him Elanya, anything but his freaking name, man. I mean, it is just so telling at how badly this guy screws up. He was in the wrong state the other day at a rally. I mean, he's like, so glad to see the people of Ohio, and he was in freaking Pittsburgh. I do not understand why this is even a race. And of course, Elanya, this is the face that Elanya made when they shook hands and he went to go to the podium. I mean, there's something not right with Elanya. I mean, it's just, whew, that guy. You know, the story has come out that the head of Oracle actually offered to allow Elon to come stay on his private Hawaiian island and detox from all the drugs he's on. And he did not take him up on the offer. Because I mean, Elon just really has, I mean, it's obvious. He's just not there. He's just not there. And, you know, Larry Ellison, the founder of Oracle, sits on his board, you know, yeah, okay. I'm with you there. Mr. Newsom, I'm there with you. I'm there with you on Lanja. Yeah. No Money Jesus, two of the biggest grifters on the planet. Good morning. Good morning to you, sir. Yeah, I mean, it's just, we got Elon Musk thinking he's going to be Donald Trump's de facto vice president. And it's just, I mean, it's ugly. It's ugly. I mean, Elon Musk has a problem. He's got a ketamine problem that he's admitted to. He's like, told his investors when the story broke that he's daily dosing ketamine, that, oh, you really want me on this? No, not really, dude. Not really. Not what I'm looking for in a CEO. And I mean, you just got to think about it. I mean, the guy might as well have just walked out on the floor of his factory, poured it out, and lit it on fire. I mean, it's just, it's insane. It's insane that, I'll be honest with you. Would any of you ever buy a Tesla? I mean, you folks understand my infrastructure battles here. I could really use Starlink. I will not do it. I will not give that man a nickel of my money. I will not do it. This is the way he spends his money. Hell no. Hell no. I mean, he might as, I mean, it's insane. And it keeps, you think, I can't get worse. It keeps getting worse. This is Elon's mom. This is Elon's mom. She's got an account on X, and she constantly is reminding us why Elon Musk is broken. She says, the Democrats have given us another option. You don't have to register to vote. On election day, have 10 fake names. Go to 10 polling booths and vote 10 times. That's 100 votes, and it's not illegal. Maybe we should work this system too. Okay, first of all, the first line, the Democrats have given us an option. When they were looking for voter fraud, they found some, albeit a minuscule amount, but they found some. Where did they find it? In the villages in Florida. Republicans. And why did they do it? Because they believe we're doing it. So it must be okay. And that's how they constantly justify it. We're not committing voter fraud. No one is doing this. But that's how they justify it in their minds. Well, they're doing it. We might as well do it. You know, I mean, that's what a load of crap. Shaking my head says, it just came out that Musk has been paying millions for years to Stephen Miller and others to spread propaganda, not shot. Yeah, that's what I'm talking. That's where I'm going at. I love that you folks are always ahead of the curve here. But yeah, Elon Musk is funding this insanity. Just insanity. But yeah, you know what? First of all, you can't vote. Just going back to Elon Musk's mama. You can't vote without being registered. That's one. I mean, it just goes to show you. I mean, well, they're immigrants. They're not from here. They're from South Africa. They're not, they're familiar with our system. So we'll give her that much. Maybe she just doesn't know. Thank God she's never voted here, obviously, because, even though for some reason we gave these people green cards, but let's just say obviously she's never voted, because you can't vote without being registered. And no, you can't just come up with 10 fake names and walk into a polling booth and vote. You can't. That's called a crime. It's called a crime. I mean, you can't do that. I mean, that his own mother had to have a community note put on her tweet. I mean, how humiliating. And I tell you, folks, it's bad. It is bad with these people. I mean, it's one thing to have his mama doing this, but Trump, they're not even hiding it. They're not even hiding. If you haven't figured it out, a lot of the trolls on X now, it's not so much the Russians anymore. It's really easy for the federal government to intervene when it's a foreign entity. So what happened? The Russians trained the white supremacists, and the white supremacists here are running their troll farms, and they're really freaking bad at it. I'll give you an example. If you're a follower of me on social media, thanks for the support, Danielle. I appreciate you. This is how I pay for this show. All the subscriptions, I appreciate you. But yeah, if you haven't figured it out, the white supremacists have been trained by the Russians, and they have set up troll farms. They have. And the Trump campaign is all in on working with these people. They're flat out using their verbiage in the signs they're passing out, calling for mass deportation. Just they're straight up not dog whistling. They're calling out to the white supremacists in their rallies. They're just straight up using their posters, their sayings in the rallies. And if you are still one of the people on X, which I have to be to monitor what goes on in the right wing, you know that the trolls have decidedly turned. There's been a big shift in the trolling. It used to be, you could tell it was people that just didn't live here. The broken English, the thing, it was kind of easy to pick them out. They didn't understand how the American government worked. They didn't understand, any of it. They just didn't get it. Now, it's obvious white supremacists. It is obvious white supremacists. It's gone from the abusive posts trying to get people discouraged to not participate to straight up bigotry. I mean, straight up bigotry. They call people everything name in the book. And if you call out misinformation or anything like that, it's the kind of abusive verbiage that comes from bigots. They'll call you a race sellout. The big thing that they love to do is use Elijah from pardon me, not Elijah, but the story of Esau from the Bible about him selling out his birthright. That's a big one among the white supremacist trolls, but it is just freaking everywhere. And I want to tell you folks, I saw it in person yesterday. We were at a parade yesterday, and I noticed a guy pulls up in a truck. I recognize the truck. It caught my attention because he had a big Trump banner in his truck, and it was a truck that I recognized. A long time ago, I used to turn wrenches for a living, so I knew what this truck was used for. I could see by what was on it. This guy is a heavy equipment operator, and this was his service truck. It had his diesel fuel tank. It had his oil tank. You could tell this truck was made for servicing heavy equipment. And he had a big, massive Trump 2024 banner on it. So I'm watching this guy, and he gets out, and he's got an armful of Trump yard signs. I'm like, okay, I gotta see what's going on here, because if you live in a red state like I do, if you live in a red state like I do, you know that they haven't been requesting Trump signs. There's a few of the nutters. I mean, there's a couple of the nutters around here that have, that I know are hardcore Trumper people that are just insane. And 1 second, I got to pause for just a second. Anyways, what I was saying there, that they just haven't had the people requesting the signs. Ask anybody that lives a blue dot in a red state that's in the chat. They'll tell you there just haven't been as many Trump signs. Well, this guy walking around with an armful of Trump signs got my attention. So I followed him, and I walked up, and I started talking to him a little bit, and it was immediately apparent. Immediately apparent. I mean, this is an older guy like me, a little older than me, actually. But you can just, you're talking to a white supremacist. This guy's got a robe at home in the closet. You can just tell by the verbiage. You could tell by his demeanor, the way he acted. Yeah, this guy was out passing around Trump signs. I promise you, he had a Klan robe in his closet at the parade. And sure enough, on the way home, I noticed there was a couple more Trump signs that weren't there a couple days ago. These white supremacists are going to work for Trump. They really are, online, and they're going to events like this. This guy was not part of the Republican Party. He's just a lone bigot working for Trump. And yeah, exactly. You could tell they're not part of the Republican Party. I just saw the comment in there that they don't speak very well. They don't. You can spot these people. They don't understand the issues. They don't have the prepared answers. They're just some dumbass online that got recruited. Part of there you go. Was he carrying a tiki torch too? No, you could really just, when you engage one of these people. But yeah, that's what we're seeing. We're seeing an open embrace by the Trump and the Trump campaign, who have no ground game. They're going to use the white supremacists. They're going to use the KKK. They're going to use the Patriot Front. They're going to use Adam Waffen and all of these people to work as both an online troll organization and if you want a taste of what it's like, go to my social media, go on X. I posted a picture, scroll down, you have to go back a couple weeks, but I posted a picture of some really good tacos made at a local restaurant here. You can just see the sheer bigotry involved. I mean, it's really sick. It is really, really sick. And they've gone so far as to do some things with major creators like me, like they've taken the banner off my Twitter feed, and then they will put bigoted racist, they will Photoshop bigoted racist images and then repost that as an image as though it's something I'm saying. It's really freaking gross. It is really freaking gross. And it's really taken a seriously dark turn. But it's not just that, folks. They're abusing their authority. Like you've got Ron DeSantis in Florida. They've really crossed a bright red line. Amendment 4 in Florida, the abortion amendment, they have done everything in their power. They have spent state money and state resources for their campaigns. They've gone so far as to take the Florida Department of Health, and they've used their funds to get an amendment on the ballot and had it posted directly under Amendment 4 that puts false and misleading information out there about an economic study of the impact of Amendment 4. So when you're going through and you're reading the amendments that assures health care for the people, women of Florida, the abortion amendment, it says a bunch of nonsense, just false crap right below it about how it's going to be economically devastating to Florida. Well, no, it's not. It wasn't, when Roe v. Wade was there, it wasn't economically devastating to Florida. I mean, this is the kind of thing that Ron DeSantis and the Republican Party has already been doing, but they have crossed a bright red line. There's an ad that was put out. It is a true story. And this is one of the things that's just absolutely decimating the Republicans. It was a true story. It's a woman just talking about her experience and what's happened since they have enacted this law. Ron DeSantis is now talking about legally prosecuting. He's threatening stations, television stations, that air this ad. Let me show you what we're talking about. This is the ad. And kudos to the guys over at Midas Touch. I love the Mycellus brothers. I love Ron Filipkowski. Kudos to them for catching what's going on there and elevating it, because I tell you, the corporate media is not going to do it. Here's the ad.
When I saw the tumor on the MRI, my first thought was, am I going to be able to see my daughter again? The doctors knew if I did not end my pregnancy, I would lose my baby, I would lose my life, and my daughter would lose her mom. Florida has now banned abortion, even in cases like mine. Amendment 4 is going to protect women like me. We have to vote yes.
So yeah, Ron DeSantis is now threatening criminal prosecution against television stations that air that ad. What she's talking about is, if you are pregnant, you can't undergo a major surgery. You just can't. So yeah, they had to terminate her pregnancy for her to get the brain surgery that she desperately needed. And folks, she didn't willy-nilly accidentally find out about this tumor. She was having problems. That's why they did the MRI. So yeah, her choice is not have the surgery and continue on for several months with the pregnancy while a brain tumor kills her. In which case, the fetus isn't going to survive anyways. And then her living child loses her mother. That's real. It's real. That's really the consequence. Folks, most abortions happen within the first 12 weeks. 90%. 90%. And the reason people like me, liberals like me, lose their damn minds, it's like 92%. The reason we lose their damn minds when they try to pass these bans that are post 12 week, post 16 weeks, even though I know it doesn't affect the overwhelming majority of women who do have abortions. It's because of situations like this. It's because they're morons. They don't understand. Of the 8% of abortions that are after 12 weeks, 80 to 90% of those are for health reasons for the mother. This issue gets so clouded up That's what we're really fighting about, folks. That's what we're really fighting about. You have pastors in these churches that think they know better than frickin' doctors, that in the rarest cases, less than 10% of abortions out there are after this time period that everybody agrees on. It shouldn't be, because there is no baby at 12 weeks. It's barely, it's gummy tissue. It's jelly. There's no heartbeat. You know, they keep saying a heartbeat. There's no heartbeat. There's no heart. What we're talking about is that. And then they say stupid things about how we're killing babies after they're born. No, that again is insanity. The rarest of cases are fetuses that the mother got no prenatal care. They didn't know that this baby was born without lungs. They didn't know that this baby was going to be born without a cerebrum. It only has a brain stem. Therefore, it has no actual brain. It just has the one portion of the brain that drives your breathing and your heartbeat. That's it. It'll never be a human being. It's going to die in a few weeks. So they will ask the mother, do you want to put this child who is never going to have a brain, it's never going to survive, do you want to endure $150,000, $200,000 worth of medical bills to put this child on life support, or do we just let it perish? That horrific situation and discussion these sick bastards have morphed into, we're killing babies after they're born. No, no one is. That would be murder. That's why we don't break bread with these people. That's why we don't sit down with these people. We don't say, okay, let's have a discussion about this, because there is no legitimate discussion to be had with these people. They're insane. They're manipulative and they're liars. You want to see a textbook definition of a liar? Look at pro-life literature. You know, I've shown it on shows before. It's supposed to be a 12-week-old fetus, and it's so freaking large, the head of the baby would be shoved up into the mother's neck. And its feet protrude down into the mother's legs. That's not how babies work. That's called a lie. It's a manipulative lie, and that's what they're doing. It's what they're doing, folks. So let's move to a little bit of reality. Let's talk about Hurricane Helene and the recovery there and the things that are being said there. You know, we talked about the crisis that's facing people. So many people do not have flood insurance. We talked about that in the last show. We're not going to rehash that. But folks, it's more than that. You have people on the right that are spreading misinformation, that are telling people to not cooperate with FEMA. They're saying, first of all, they're saying FEMA is not there. I mean, imagine this. They're saying FEMA is not there. There's been no government reaction when they were on the ground before the hurricane. Before the hurricane. The National Guard was there the day after the hurricane. And C5 Galaxies have been flying, you know, material and everything from water to hygiene products to everything, continuous flights into these affected areas constantly. You have Republicans saying it's not happening. Not happening. The government has abandoned you. All they care about is them illegals. We talked about this in the last show. We talked about It's gotten dangerous. They're telling people, and this always happens in areas like mine, where you have land that is I live in a place where land ain't that expensive comparatively. It's a land grab. They want your land. That is a fiction that it rears its ugly head in just about every situation that involves the government. They tell the dumbest of the dumb, the government wants your land. Let me tell you something. That is some of the cheapest land in the world in these affected areas. This is like rural Tennessee, rural North Carolina, rural Georgia. You can get land real freaking cheap there. If somebody's going to grab land, they do it in Dallas. They would do it in places where it's valuable. The coastline, where it's expensive, where you buy land by the square foot, not by the acre. But they're telling these people, of course, that the government's there to grab your land. Don't you cooperate with them FEMA. Them FEMA people, they're there to steal your land. They're telling people that. They're telling people that. Well, look, I've got a video for you. It's a partial video, actually. Her whole video is over 5 minutes long, but it is making the rounds. I invite you to go find it and watch the whole full-length video. This is a paramedic that lives in North Carolina in the affected areas, talking about what's going on around her. And you can just feel the emotion in her voice.
Of awareness, we need help in the form of monetary donations. Needs change. Initially, what we needed was gas. What we needed was hygiene products. Those things are going to change over time. My biggest concern is people are going to forget about this in 2 weeks, and we're not going to continue to have the support that we have. And what we have is great. I am grateful for the support we have. But anyone coming on this app and telling you that we are bulldozing bodies and the government is coming in and usurping our property, that is not happening. It's not happening. I'm here. Those are the mountains. I'm in North Carolina. I'm a North Carolina native. I'm a paramedic. I am telling you right now, please do not listen to the propaganda and the people who are using the death of our neighbors, our friends, and our family to tell you that this is some sort of political scheme. The government did not cause this hurricane. That's not a thing. Just stop. We're hurting. I mean, literally, as I'm talking right now, there's an osprey flying. I don't know if you can hear it. The one landed right there about an hour ago and dropped supplies. The government is here. And I think it's ironic that the same people who are fighting for less government and fighting to cut all of these programs are the ones who are criticizing the government and saying they're not here, because they are here in the best capacity that they can be here. So if you're sitting at home with your running water, drinkable running water, in your warm, comfy bed or your warm sofa, just shut the fuck up. You have nothing to say. You don't know what we're going through. You don't know what we've seen. We're not some pawn in some political scheme. We are people. We are people who have lost loved ones. We are people who are suffering. And yeah, stop it. I'm so fucking sick and tired of it. Stop it.
So yeah. Imagine being one of the people that's affected there. And this is what you're getting out of the Republican Party. First of all, the whole $750 thing. That's an emergency response check, because your average American can't afford a $600 emergency. They can't. That's just a fact. The majority of Americans do not have the funds set aside. Thank you for the support, Phantom Pup. I really appreciate you. I really do. To be able to handle a $600 emergency. They don't. So part of the FEMA response is, thank you, ET, and Florida is about to get hit again. Now we're going there, buddy. Hang in there. Yeah, we're going to talk about Milton in just a minute. But yeah, that's just a fact. So one of the things that FEMA does is they dole out cash quickly. It's one of the parts of the FEMA reaction that doesn't require tons and tons and tons and tons of paperwork. All you got to do is show an address. They know where the affected areas are, and they will hand you a $750 stipend, usually in the form of a gift card. But they'll just hand it to you, and then you go into the database that you received it, so that people can't abuse the system. Some people lie and abuse the system. They do. But it's rare. I mean, you're talking about disaster areas. But that's what that money is, folks. It's not the whole of the reaction. It's not the end all be all of what you'll receive. That is, hey, right now we're in a disaster and your family needs water. It needs food. You need to be able to get basics here. That's what that money is. You know what it was under Trump? Wild guess. I love this game with you folks because you folks are super informed. There you go. Mary right there already knows. $500. It was $500 under Trump. Now they're handing out $750 under the Biden administration. Way to go, Joe. But yeah, that's one of the fictions, the bigots. And remember, I told you, that's why I talked so long about the bigots and the white supremacists working for the Republican Party, because the message is you're only getting $750, but they're giving these immigrants millions. And they frame it just like that. Like the folks affected by Hurricane Helene are only going to get $750. And that it's not, they don't say that, oh, well, here's an emergency stipend to get you through until we can get services up and running again and get everything back moving again, and you can get your FEMA paperwork in. No, they frame it as that's all you get, $750. But by the way, there's some immigrant that we paid $2 million to. That's what the Republican Party is, folks. At a time when we should be pulling together, at a time when we should be working just as Americans, this is what Republicans are doing. It's what they're doing. And it comes from the top. It comes from Donald Trump. He started this, and it's being pushed. Like I said, their bigot outlets, the white supremacists, are the worst trolls online about this. And the old bigots are just, the ones that aren't the robe wearers, but they just sympathize, are more than willing to jump on this bandwagon because it's what they want. It's what they want to hear. None of it's true. There are good people out there busting their ass to make things happen. But it's always Colleen, Sarah, thank you for the support. $50 is a lot of money, and I'm really grateful. You would be surprised what the expenses are here. MAGA has no concept of empathy. I didn't get to read that. MAGA has no concept of empathy or truth. It's always another tragedy to create fear and doubt. Exactly. Thank you, Colleen. Thank you. Exactly. But it's even worse than that because it's always projection. Anybody in the audience that doesn't know what projection is, that's when you accuse others of what you are guilty of. They're saying Joe Biden, he's taken all that FEMA money and he gave it to immigrants. Look, $640 million he gave to them immigrants. That's why you're only getting $750. Yeah, no lie. That's what they're saying. It's a damn lie. I told you all the best lies start with a little kernel of truth. We talked about it in the last show when they were bitching and moaning. And remember the buses? Greg Abbott busing immigrants. That stopped because, immigration is actually lower. Illegal immigration is actually lower now than it was under Trump. Yeah. But the buses were about, it's so expensive. Oh my God, it's so expensive. We're going to bus these people so you get a taste of it. So what did Joe Biden do? Being the guy that he is, he said, you know what? Fine, I'll help. And they came up with $640 million that was not part of the disaster response fund. That's the important part. It had nothing to do with the disaster response fund at all. This was administrative money. And he sent it down south to help these cities cope with expenses. He also sent some to New York. He also sent some to other cities to help them through this, right? Way to go, Joe, man. Step up. Be a man. Deal with it. Steve Rulin says, hey, Paul, the wife and I love you, man. Trump is a huge steaming pile of, vote blue, vote blue, vote blue. I'm with you, brother. And I thank you. I love you people too. I'm telling you. You guys, I have to marinate in this right-wing crap all the damn time. Being able to spend time with you guys is everything. It is everything. But yeah, this is the truth. Donald Trump actually did, and this is why they're making this accusation. He actually did what he is accusing Joe Biden falsely of doing. Donald Trump actually took hundreds of millions of dollars out of FEMA's disaster response budget. Do you remember the camps that they set up? The freaking concentration camps down here in the South, where it was 100 freaking degrees. All of a sudden, all of these tents showed up, these massive air inflated tents. Those didn't exist before. They took FEMA money and bought that stuff. Donald Trump actually did what he's accusing Joe Biden falsely of doing. Come on, people. Come on. It's like everything they do. Yes, when they were sticking kids in cages, they were using FEMA money to pay for that. And that's why they're making that accusation. Because they know we Democrats handle these situations. So they had to come out. The day after the hurricane, these lies came out. You had the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Mike Johnson. Amen, man. Amen. Thank you for the support. Fire Trump, hire Harris. Amen. So unfortunately, we don't have to fire him. He has no government job right now. But yeah, folks, this is who they are. And the reason they do it, so that you know, I always like to give you the inside political baseball. If you can get people to repeat a lie, your people especially, to repeat a lie, the Republicans do this continuously. If they're guilty of it, they accuse you of it. So that when they're caught and it's exposed, like right now, everybody's finding out, all that money that they paid for those damn camps down at the border, Donald Trump took that from FEMA. Well, it doesn't hit as hard with their people because they're like, oh, you're just making that up because we know Joe Biden did that. Well, that was a lie. Joe Biden never did any of that. He never took a penny out of the disaster response budget. Not a penny. But it gets worse, folks. It gets worse. We're going to get to Milton here in just a second. Put a pin in that. And we're going to talk about one more thing before we move on. While we're talking about projection, Linda Blanton says, sadly, we still don't get the crisis humanity is facing. It's going to get much worse. This is the time to mitigate climate change, not when it's too late. Exactly. And they know what their voting records are on this, so they have to make all these false allegations, these lies. You know, just a base lie. You remember they were accusing immigrants first, it was they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. And then when that didn't fly, what did they do? They went to the same lie they spread in the UK about, well, they're eating the geese, they're eating the ducks on your ponds. You remember that, folks? You remember that? It more from dogs and cats when that, people, even Republicans were coming out and saying, stop it. Just stop it. That's not happening. That's racist. Stop it. So they switched it to geese and ducks, things that we actually do eat. They weren't going to let the lie go away. Well, it turns out, we found out who was eating the geese and the ducks in Springfield. Yep. It was a white guy, 64-year-old white guy named Brian Comer. Yeah, illegally hunting. That's the guy. The geese were disappearing. I told you, every lie has a kernel of, every good lie has a kernel of truth to it. They're eating the geese, man. Well, the geese are disappearing. It's them immigrants. They're illegal immigrants. Well, no, actually, these people came here legally, and we asked them to because we needed the workforce. That they're here legally, they're becoming Americans. They're you keep saying you just want them to come here legally. Well, that's what these people did, and now you're calling them illegals, and you're blaming them for eating the geese that are disappearing. When it was Brian Comer, 64-year-old white guy, out there hunting illegally, that's where your geese were going. Every one of their lies has a little kernel of truth to it that is not the truth to what they're saying. I'm telling you, folks, they're bad people. Republicans are bad people. And it's not a joke. This is serious. This is serious. I want you to think about all the attacks on FEMA, all the lies that have been told about FEMA, all the lies that have been told about the disaster response, which has been amazing. Think about the massive amount. I said this, and I took a lot of heat for it. I said, if this hurricane was going to go anywhere, if you could pick the path of this hurricane, this is the one you wanted it to go on. Because if it had just been a couple hundred miles west, it would have run over Tallahassee. It would have run over Atlanta. It would have hit so many major cities that the devastation would have been on an order of magnitude larger. It wouldn't have been thousands of people needing our help. It would have been millions of people needing our help. And I got so much crap for saying that. But folks, it's true. As terrible as this is, that was the best course that hurricane could have taken, because we can handle that response. Now, they're doing an amazing job with this huge challenge. Take a look at a map from Florida all the way up to Virginia. How far we're talking. Logistically, this is massive. Even though it is a smaller number of people, it is a massive number of people, or massive area that we're talking about. It's just huge. And they're doing an amazing job. Let me tell you, the National Guard units in each of these states are coordinating together. And I tell you what, those C-5 Galaxies are landing in Asheville continuously. As soon as they get one unloaded and off the runway, another one comes in. They are just, the logistics on this has been just incredible, just amazing, especially when you consider the amount of territory they're dealing with. But think about the story and then put it in context of, I just deleted it. 1 second. 1 second. Take a pause, take a sip of coffee. just deleted my graphic. So many tabs together, it's really easy to hit the delete tab. Here, I found another one here. Let me open it up for you. All right, this is the storm track for Hurricane Milton. Yeah, we've got another hurricane bearing down on Florida. It's going to hit Wednesday. Wednesday, 1 p.m. Wednesday afternoon. The eye is going to be right here. Folks, right now the projections that it'll be a Category 2. I promise you, it will be a Category 3 or a Category 4. I will stick my neck out and I will say I'm going to go against the experts on this one. And I'm going to say, no, this is going to be a Cat 3 or a Cat 4. And the reason I say this is they're not taking into account, folks, it's 90 degrees outside. It is hot. This is one of the hottest Octobers in history. Heat is the energy that feeds these hurricanes. And yes, that storm track, that's it. It's going to just plow right over Florida. And then it's going to run up the East Coast. It hits Wednesday. And what is the Speaker of the House doing? He's out talking crap about FEMA. He's out talking crap about the federal government. Folks, you know, if you're in the Tampa area, I hate to say this, but this is your representative. Again, this is not me spreading bad things about her. This is what Anna Paulina Luna, whose district is in the Tampa Bay area, congratulations, that's who's going to represent you through this hurricane. She put this out. This is your representative. I played this for you before, but it's worth playing again. And they say I'm a bad that represents you. And Milton is taking direct aim at Tampa. Folks, come on. If you're voting, you need to be voting Democrat like fast. I mean, fast. You need to be voting Democrat. Get serious people. You know, it's like when I had Colin Allred on here. This is why I like Colin Allred. He gets it. He gets it. Colleen, I appreciate your support. Yeah, for Dolly, my producer. Thank you. I appreciate it. This is going to hit Wednesday. And what are the Republicans saying and doing? They're attacking the disaster response. Joe Biden asked them to come back. Now, let's go back to the disaster relief fund. Okay? Let's talk about that. Dwayne Custer, unfortunately, there is all indication that we have crossed so many planetary boundaries that no amount of mitigation will help to alleviate. You know what? You're right. We can't make global warming stop right now, but we can shorten how long it is a problem. And that's what we're trying to do. That's what they mean by mitigation. Everybody knows we've already crossed the line. We can't stop what's going to happen. All we can do is mitigate it. That's why they're using that term, mitigation. Yeah, I know. I didn't put that on there. They did. And I really hope that it was short enough. I got to it fast enough that I don't get a copyright ding. That's serious on YouTube. They're no joke. Kudos to YouTube. They protect people's intellectual rights. But folks, yeah, I mean, think about that. Think about what the two parties are doing. You know, you got Democrats out there just working their asses off. Hell, you had Bill Lee, the governor of Tennessee, one of the most partisan, sorry bastards you've ever seen in your life, did a press conference where he said, stop lying, folks. The federal government is working with us. They're giving us anything and everything we need. Anything we ask for, they've been amazing. Bill Lee had to come out and say that. I mean, come on. I know, that's what I thought. I thought it was Barracuda too, but I wasn't going to argue. But yeah, come on, folks. I mean, this is the difference. And there are serious things happening, not just Milton, There are serious things happening right now. The Supreme Court docket coming up, and this is where I want to lead into the roundtable. You know, we believe it or not, an hour's blown by already. But this is what we're looking at out of the next Supreme Court docket: ghost guns, transgender care, and it's also ID requirements online. Let's break each one of those down and talk about them, each one independently. Ghost guns is a huge one. This is the Fifth Circuit. They're just disgraced. They're disgraced. This is the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals. It's a joke. It's like that judge that I keep pointing out to you up here by Midland that just rubber stamps any crazy thing, any crazy lawsuit that MAGA wants to bring. He's like, absolutely, and rules for them. Yeah, the Fifth Circuit has disgraced itself. They are insane. They have no respect from anyone. And what they said was that ghost guns, what they're talking about, you can go online and you can order a gun that comes in a kit. It is unassembled. It has no serial number, no identification of manufacturer or where it was sold. It comes in a kit. You assemble it yourself, and you've got a working firearm. Yeah, really. The federal government stepped in and said, no, there are laws regarding the sale of firearms. If you order one of these ghost gun kits from a manufacturer or a gun store, there has to be A, a background check, and B, a serial number. The Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals said, no, we don't believe that. In what reality? Just because it has to be assembled at home? Really? I mean, that was their argument. So the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals kicked that to the Supreme Court. The Solicitor General of the United States has appealed that to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court is going to hear that case. So yeah, folks, right now, every one of these violent white supremacist organizations, they know this, man. This is part of their literature. They train their people to do this. You can go order online a kit, a ghost gun. And the next step that they're doing is they're splitting them into multiple kits. So no one kit can be assembled into an entire firearm, but you, wink, wink, need to order these 3 kits. And you got yourself a working firearm that no one can track. That's one case that this radical Supreme Court, which, by the way, historically has never had this much. 7 out of 10 Americans don't believe that this Supreme Court has the ability to rule on anything objectively. They believe that this is a hyper-partisan Supreme Court, and they're not wrong. They're not wrong. And it's a problem, folks, because the next one we're talking about, transgender care for minors, that's an important issue. It's an important issue. You know, I've talked about this a lot, folks. Transgender people, this is not the right wingers push it as, oh, somebody just wants to play dress up. No. It is a real thing when human beings are born, where the construct of your brain is that of a female, but your genetics, you have an X and a Y chromosome, and you end up with a penis. Or you think that your brain has the construct of a male, and you have two Y chromosomes, and or pardon me, you end up a female. You end up with a vagina. That really happens. That's what transgender means. Medically, it happens. They are real people. It's rare. It's very rare. And I know I said two Y chromosomes, it's two X chromosomes, I know, but I misspeak every once in a while. But you get it, folks. That really happens. Because what makes you see yourself as male or female has nothing to do with this. Everything that you think and feel happens here. So imagine having your brain is built so that it thinks everything here should be the opposite sex of what you were born. Imagine enduring that. It's a serious medical situation. It's not a joke. It's not a game for bigots to poke fun at. These are real people, decent people, good and decent people that are born this way. Here's the problem. It was exposed, and it's very rare, again, very rare that this happens, but it happens. There was a woman that claimed she had 2 transgender children. No, you didn't. No, you did not. Being actually medically transgender is rare. We're not talking about a large portion of the population, folks. We are not. Okay. First of all, it has to be, everything's done on a spectrum. It has to be far enough on the spectrum that it presents itself as a medical problem. Not near the middle ground. It's got to be far enough along on the spectrum that it presents itself as a medical problem for someone to really want to undergo all the trouble of actually changing your sex. That's a big step. It is difficult. This woman claimed to have 2 transgender children. That's a problem. That's like going to Vegas and hitting the big lottery 2 times in a row. No. You're not going to hit it once, let alone 2 times in a row. This is the rarest of situations. So yeah, there's a real conversation that needs to be had about people and how they're approved for gender care. See, what this boils down to is they've figured out that it is much more painful and difficult to help a person actually undergo surgery to change their gender if they've never had gender affirming care growing up. If you allow a person to go, whether it be man or woman, to go fully through puberty with the body that doesn't fit their brain, it is far more painful, far more difficult to go back and change their gender to match what their identity actually is. So what doctors figured out is you can do a scan of the brain. You can see the construct of the brain. There are psychological tests. They can figure out if you're actually legitimately transgender. And they can take a child and prevent them from going through puberty. And it saves that child intense pain. It saves that child extreme medical difficulty. It is the right thing to do. But these right-wingers have seized on this case of this one woman claiming, she's forcing her child into transgenderism, which is a conversation that we really should be having. But instead, they make it hate. They make it hate. Peter, thanks for the support. I really appreciate it. They make it hate. They attack all transgender people. They lie about what it means to be transgender. They're abusive. They're bad people. That's why you have to eliminate the Republican Party, folks. You just do. Because they make that abuse their platform. When I say you're better people, I mean you're better people. You get it. You understand. These are discussions that doctors have amongst themselves. What is a valid reason to give a child puberty blockers? And they come up with a list of requirements that you have to meet. That's the way it should be. Not this hate, not this silliness that Republicans push. And the Supreme Court's going to jump right into the middle. This Supreme Court with Neil Gorsuch, with Clarence Thomas, with Brett Kavanaugh and Amy Coathanger Barrett. They're going to jump into the middle of this. Not looking forward to that one, folks. And the third thing that's come up is one that I absolutely love. You remember, just to jump on the Wayback Machine, we talked about the law here they pushed in Texas that people like me had to declare who paid them. And we were like, oh, yeah, buddy, let's do that. I'd be glad to show you who pays me. That's you folks. That's it. Turns out a bunch of the right-wingers are paid by Russia. They're paid by white supremacist organizations. And then the Republicans were like, and man, that law went away like a fart in the wind. It's gone. They found out that their people were being paid all over the damn place. They don't want to talk about that law anymore. They don't want to talk about that law at all. Well, they've created another situation like this. They said, well, you Democrats just want kids to watch porn. So they passed a law that said, if you're a porn site, you have to have a ID confirming age verification. And most Democrats I know said, okay. But then you had ultra-libertarian groups that were like, you can't make people do that. That's infringing on your First Amendment right. But most Democrats said, okay. My porn habit's not that far out there. I don't care that my ID's tied to it. I don't care. Then right-wingers figured out what their porn habits were. And that people would now be tracking it. And good Lord, has this become a sticky mess for Republicans? Because they're the ones that brought this all the way to the Supreme Court. And now the Supreme Court has to have the discussion about whether or not they can verify who you are. And you know what the beautiful part about this is, and why I'm really, 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 really pulling for Amy Coathanger Barrett on this one? Because she is absolutely, her decision is pre-written. She's absolutely going to say, if you want to go to a porn site, you got to put your ID up. You know what I love about that? Is that opens up the door for people like me to say, Twitter, you have to verify your age. And then all of these trolls, we get to see who they are. And I love that. I love that. Post your racist, white supremacist shit on there. And I guarantee you, many of them, you can go back to my posts, many of them cross the line where I can sue. They're taking, like I said, they're taking my posts and they're photoshopping in gross stuff on it and then posting that as though I said it. I can sue over that, folks. I can file a lawsuit over that. And if you got to verify by ID for your account, I can let the world know who you are. Yeah. Do it. That's right. That's right. I double dare you. I triple dare you. Do it. Pretty please. Because on my social media, my face, this beautiful face, and my name is written right across the top. Anybody can know who I am. Pretty please, make this the law that porn sites have to age verify using a government ID, because that will legally make it apply to any website. And believe me, the websites that are the problems, I can easily argue that X is an adult website. Easily. Because it is not 12-year-old kids out there calling me a fat Jew. Oh, no. It's going to be really nice knowing who your members of the Patriot Front are. So, yeah, these are the kinds of issues, real issues, that are really, really, really facing us. You got Hurricane Milton, and you've got the government already working. They know it's going to hit Wednesday. FEMA is already got their travel orders in place. They're already moving into position. They're already doing their job, because the Democrats, that's what we do. That's what we do. Democrats have gone to Speaker Mike Johnson and said, look, we need an increase to our emergency response budget, our disaster response budget. We need an increase immediately. He said, no. We'll do it after we come back off vacation. And then they tried to spin that bullshit about you're giving our disaster response away to immigrants, which is just a lie. I showed you, watch the show. If you're just coming in late to the audience, back up and watch. That's the difference, folks. I mean, that's it. This shit sells itself. You got one party that just does the job. Like I was talking about with Colin Allred here in Texas. He gets it. He understands. It's my job to be the bomb thrower. It is my job to pour the gasoline on things and stoke the fires. It's his job to govern. It's not sexy. It's just making the sausage. It's doing the work. It's doing the job. That's why I tell you, that's why I love Democrats, because they're not Anna Paulina Luna out there flashing their ass for votes. Anyways, that's what I've got for you today. We've got a few minutes left. If you've got any comments or topics that you want to talk about, we got time for a roundtable. I'm going to ask you to do me a favor. We are getting so close to 100,000 on this channel. Please hit the subscribe button. Doesn't hurt you in the slightest. Doesn't cost you anything in the slightest. It's free. I, for years, watched YouTube without hitting the subscribe button on channels I liked. I actually lost channels. You know, I'm into woodworking. That's my thing. I like woodworking. I used to watch woodworking channels all the time. And several of them I didn't hit subscribe to. I can't find some of these anymore because I never hit subscribe and I don't remember the exact name. If I just hit subscribe, they would be down on the bottom of the list of my front page. That's all subscribing does. Does it make sure that the content goes to the bottom of your page? You can find it if you want it. And it doesn't cost you anything. Nobody's going to try to bill you for something later or anything like that. It's free. Do it. Hit the subscribe button. What it does is it helps boost me in the algorithm, and it lets people find the content easily. The other thing is the thumbs up button. Let's get as many people as possible to see this because, like I said, Hurricane Milton's really, really happening. It's going to hit Wednesday. And no, it's not going to hit as a Cat 2. I promise you. It's going to be much stronger. It is. It is hot out here. It is hot out here. And I guarantee you the Gulf is hot right now. It is going to fire that hurricane up. And Tampa, you are right in the path. So pretty please hit the thumbs up button so we can get enough people talking about what's really happening instead of the nonsense bullshit that Republicans want to talk about. Appreciate you. Yeah, all across the South, it's been unusually hot for this October. It really has. It is going to be mid-90s here in Northeast Texas. It's going to be mid-90s. Imagine how hot it is farther south. Shaking my head to thank you for the support for one thing. I work in a federally funded clinic. If Trump is back in office, how will Project 2025 impact my job? It will end it. I hate to say this. I don't mean to scare you, but it really will end your job. Folks, they want to cut Social Security. They've told you. They've told you. You can go back and you can find video of senators and congressmen, Republicans all across the board that have told you, we want to cut Social Security. We want to cut Medicare. You have Republican governors that didn't take free Medicare money. Now, I want you to just let this blow your damn mind for a second. You paid the taxes in. It went to the federal government. Democrats tried to give you your money back and say, look, you need this for health care. Here's free Medicare and Medicaid money. Take it. And Republicans were so ideologically bent that you have governors all across the South and the Midwest that said, we don't want your stinking government money. Really? Because that was your people's money. That was your people's money. Trenda says, question, did you discuss Tennessee governor calling out the false FEMA rumors? I did. Bill Lee, I got to tell you, I talked about that a little bit earlier, Trenda. Thanks for coming in. I appreciate you being here. I really do. Bill Lee, Mr. MAGA, one of the grossest MAGA governors in the country, felt the need to go to a podium in front of reporters and say all of this stuff that you're hearing on social media coming out of Trump and the right wing is bullshit. He did it. Look it up. Bill Lee of Tennessee did that. I mean, you've got mayors and congresspeople, Republicans that aren't insane all over from Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, Tennessee, Virginia are coming out saying, no, they're really busting ass here. They're really doing the work. I'm sorry I missed that comment, but yeah, I just wanted to get there. Yeah, we talked about Bill Lee a little bit ago. Thank you for bringing it up again. Man, I hope your coffee's as good as mine. It is really hitting this morning. Oh my God. Thank you. Don't thank you. Have you people heard this? Have you heard about this? Donho says, how about them Trump Bibles, 3 Oklahoma schools, thoughts? It's not just 3 schools. It's every school. Have you heard about this? They're requiring religion be taught in school in Oklahoma. And I said, I told you, like I'm from a Catholic family. I am. I'm from a Catholic family. My dad was a altar boy. My dad was an altar boy. My mom was Irish Catholic. I mean, they are. Okay. They demanded that schools must teach religion. They mandated that the Bible that is used, and I told you it wouldn't be yours. It would not be your Bible. It would not be what you teach. No. They spec the Bibles out that are to be used to teach this religion, and it had to have like the Declaration of Independence in it, and all kinds of crap that's in the Trump Bible. It's got to list all the amendments, etc., in the Bible. Guess what? The only Bible that meets the specifications for Oklahoma is the Trump Bible. That's right. The Trump Bible. It's the only one out there that meets those specifications. It is always a grift. They're going to take your tax dollars, Oklahoma, and they're going to give it to Donald Trump to do the heathenest thing possible is Trump selling a Bible. And your tax money is now going to fund it. How disgusting is that? How freaking disgusting is that? And I warned you people. It is not your religion. Mormons? Do we have any Mormons out there? Any proud Mormons out there? They don't even consider you Christian. They don't. They don't even consider you Christian. Your religion will not be allowed in their schools. So if you got a Mormon child in Oklahoma, too bad, so sad. Are you Catholic? Do we have any Catholics? I'm born and raised Catholic. Any other Catholics in here? Any other Catholics in here? Yeah, they will not be preaching your religion. Nope. It's not even Christian Jesus they're preaching. It's Republican Jesus. I mean, how disgusting is that? And please, pretty please, Google it. Fact check me on this. They are absolutely correct. They put specifications out there so that only the Trump Bible meets their specifications. Pat Wendland says, simply putting hurricane or the thermostat of the planet. The hotter you turn it up, the heat, the harder it has to run the air conditioning. Yeah. What he's saying here, folks, and it is absolutely the truth. Hurricanes, the cyclonic action of a hurricane, the spinning, you've seen it in your sink. You've seen it in your sink when, the sink's draining, you see that cyclonic action. Okay. That's how a hurricane is fed. It is air rising up into the atmosphere, spinning its way up. The hotter it is, the faster it rises. You've seen a hot air balloon fly. This isn't magic. JD Mack, thanks for the support, my man. I appreciate you. And thanks for that great comment. You've seen a hot air balloon fly. You've seen how it flies. They fire up that big old propane jet, heat up the air inside the balloon, and up it goes. The hotter you heat it, the faster it rises. That's what powers hurricanes. The hotter the ocean temperatures are, and it's hot down here right now, folks, the faster that air rises, the faster it swirls, the stronger that hurricane. It is not magic, folks. It is not magic. It's simple. You've seen it before. Political musings with Amy Manuel. Jewish Texan here who wants religion out of public schools. I'm with you. I'm here. They'll call me a Jewish Texan too. I broke the bigots. Oh my God, I broke the bigots. I really did. A long time ago, I put a comment out, and this really happened back in 2019. I was walking out of a Walmart, and it was in the middle of that You know how they have the War on Christmas every year, and it used to be a big thing on Fox, the War on Christmas. And anybody that says Happy Holidays hated Christmas, and they hate you as a Christian. They hate you. Yada yada. You remember all of it, right? Well, I'm walking out, and you know me, I'm hot tempered, and I'm saying goodbye to the greeter, and the greeter's telling everybody Happy Holidays, Happy Holidays. This bigoted, nasty bitch behind me just starts yelling at this woman. Just starts yelling at her about how it's Merry Christmas and how dare she, yada, yada, yada. I turned around, pushed my basket in between her and that woman so that she had to look at this face. And I told her, I'm a Jew. She got it right. I'm Jewish. It is Happy Holidays. We're not all Christian around here. And she just shut the hell up. That really happened, folks. Truth is, I told a lie there. I'm not Jewish. It doesn't matter. I have Jewish people in my family. I do, that I love dearly, but I am technically not Jewish. Call me a Jew if you want. I don't care. I don't care. My dad was Catholic. My mother was Catholic. I was raised Catholic, but call me a Jew all you want. I don't care. Jewish people are great people. They really are. But yeah, that really happened. That really happened. So I broke the bigots because I posted a picture of fantastic looking birria tacos. If you've never had birria tacos, oh my God. And they said the stupidest shit, folks. And since we're in the round table, I'm just going to go on and on about this. But these are some delicious tacos. If you've never had birria tacos, they are amazing. What they are is they're corn tacos. And this is where the bigots really showed themselves, because they've got this thing now, the right wing, believe it or not, they really do this. The white supremacists have this thing. They figured out that crunchy tacos were actually made by an American. Mexicans wouldn't know what the hell a Ortega taco shell was. They just, that's not how they do it. They take a corn tortilla and they fry it up. And so it's a little stiffer. And then they stuff it with stuff, but it's not a crunchy taco. These people lost their damn minds because I posted a picture of birria tacos that just look freaking delicious. And they're like, and this is the bigoted stuff they were saying. We've got the recipes. We don't need the people. You know, God dang, folks, dang. I mean, really, you know, and they just went on and on about how stupid I was for saying, hey, quit being bigoted toward these people. The other cultures are great. They bring great things, including food is a major part of everybody's culture. Broke their minds. They just went insane and said the most bigoted, nasty shit on this post. It was hilarious. I deleted, I would guesstimate somewhere between 500 and 1,000 really gross posts, but it's still out there and they're still posting to it to this day. It just broke their damn minds. First of all, they're not crunchy tortillas. You're an idiot. Birria tacos are made out of a corn tortilla, which wasn't invented in America. It was invented, I think, a couple 100,000 years ago. They tracked it back to. Yeah, no, but it was hilarious. Well, it's kind of gross. I say hilarious, but it was kind of gross. I very much enjoyed watching them put the amount of resources that went into this, because a lot of people really liked the way these were some good looking tacos, man. People were really enjoying this post. So they dumped, and I'm not kidding, these white supremacists are still investing troll time and energy and money into that post today. Not even kidding. All right, just looking for other comments. Forgive the pause. Stick with me, folks. 2,400 of us in here, by the way. Glad to see it. Let's get it up to 5,000. Hit that thumb button. Tell people about this. All right. And how about them Longhorns? That's right. Back on top, number one. It's my college football folks out there. Texas Longhorns are still number one. Trina Longa coming out with guns blazing. Read Rachel Maddow's book, Blowout. Then you know what we're up against. Absolutely. Rachel Maddow is brilliant. She really is brilliant. I mean, not just agreeing with her politics. She is literally a brilliant person. If you don't know her educational background, she is incredible. I'm sorry, I missed that last comment. Can you bring it up after this one? Alto Eager should have a comment. Universities run a study. If you take it down, I don't get to read it. All right. Alto Eager should have a couple of universities run a study to see what's the max air temp you can safely operate the hot air balloon. They know. Believe me, they're very aware. Dwayne Custer, and didn't Kansas schools ban Charlotte's Web back in 2006 because animals could speak in the book? Yes, it's insane, folks. This is what I'm talking about. Thank you for bringing that up. Lucky Star says, how many people out there go to AA, NA, Georgia? I'm assuming GA is Georgia, or any 12-step program. GA, I don't know what GA is. Never heard of it. Somebody educate me. I don't know what GA is. Any 12-step program. Project 2025 wants to end 12-step programs. Yes. This is the kind of thing that's out there. That's the kind of thing that's out there. And yes, they banned Charlotte's Web because it talked about, they talked about how animals talk in the book. And think about that. Juxtapose Hurricane Milton, FEMA busting their ass, getting on the ground, and then Republicans wanting to ban Charlotte's Web. I mean, come on, people. In the Republican Party, Gamblers Anonymous. Okay, yeah, I got you now. Thank you. That makes sense. I didn't know. I didn't associate GA with Gamblers Anonymous. Thank you. But yeah, folks, it's just insane. Dwayne Custer, the amount of energy going into the oceans every year is equal to millions of Hiroshima bombs. Yeah, folks, just the science of it. They talk about clean energy. Folks, fact check me on this. The sun delivers more energy to Earth in one day than we have created through fossil fuels our entire existence. I'm talking going back to caveman campfires. In one day, the sun delivers more energy. We just need to get better at using the free, clean stuff that's here. It's just really hard to put a tap on and control sunlight. That's why it doesn't get a big deal. Dwayne, my buddy, I'm defending the PhD dissertation this week. My research is on helping LGBTQ plus individuals move through trauma. This is a timely conversation. Dwayne, God bless you, man. God bless you. That's why I tell you, man, folks, I went and started my own damn church. I did. I'm not going to talk religion in the politics stuff. After the election, I'm going to start a Saturday religion talk. My church believes in science. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to not believe in science. The only reason that your church argues with science is because they're trying to sell you that their legitimacy comes from a book that science has completely depleted. 100%, it's bad. It's bad. LGBTQ plus people are just people. They're just people. They exist for a reason. There are medical reasons that people are LGBT because sexuality is on a spectrum. It's based on the construction of your brain. They're just people. Just good people out there just doing their thing. That's it. Leave them alone. We all do better when we all do better. We all do better when we all do better. I mean, that's a really simple concept. 98% of jobs were created under Democrats because we believe we all do better when we all do better. Folks, a job isn't created unless there is work to be done. Nobody is creating jobs for charity. They're creating jobs because there's work they need to pay somebody to do. So yeah, we Democrats work to create the jobs, to create the work. Republicans, who have only created 2% of the jobs, all they're focused on is how much can I take for me, myself, and I. They don't think about how well is our society doing. That's the point of government, is to make society do as well as possible. And when society's doing well, the businesses do well. There's plenty of work, a lot of money to be made. This isn't rocket science, people. As one says, I'll join the pothead church. I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you. Be careful what you say, though, because I'm telling you, I'm very serious about my beliefs. Update Electoral College. How about eliminate the Electoral College? How about eliminating it? It was made as a compromise over slavery. How about we just end the Electoral College? There is no reason. There are 2 senators from the state of California, and they have the population of, what is it? I can't remember, folks. Somebody in the audience will know, what is it, 26 or is it 36 other states? Yet they only have the representation of 2 senators. I think it's 26 other states, 26 Republican states. But California has the population equivalent to, and they only get 2 senators. That is grotesquely unfair. That is grotesquely unfair. That is telling the people of California, you don't matter. You don't matter. Bubba in Nebraska matters more than you do. That's what it's. That's just wrong. It's just wrong. I don't remember the exact number, and my brain's on fire. I will have to look it up, but it's some ungodly number, disproportionate number. Exactly. The 5th largest economy in the world, not the United States, in the world, only has a representation of 2 senators. How wrong is that? How freaking wrong is that? Yeah, that's another one. New Kid, thank you for support. Our Senator Wyden introduced a bill to reform SCOTUS. Watch it die. Yeah, there is a Supreme Court reform that is on the table this election. Folks, if you elect Kamala Harris, you get a bill that takes the very basic rules that apply to all other judges and applies it to the Supreme Court. It's not even the bill you want. I mean, we want something with more teeth in it that has more demands. Republicans are fighting just that. They're fighting just that. I mean, it is the most basic. What applies to all federal judges applies to the Supreme Court. I mean, that's what I keep talking about, folks. I'm a liberal, and I hope you will join me. I hope you will join me in that after the election, after we have elected Kamala Harris, let's pull our asses off to the left. Because Kamala Harris is not a lefty. She isn't. She's not. Joe Biden is not a lefty. If you look at the spectrum of politics from hard right, I'm mirrored, so hard right to hard left, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are center right. Their politics is center right. It's not even left of center. That's what America is right now. Let's pull it left, man. Let's pull it left. Because let me tell you, our friends in Europe, they've got it right. They really do. They do. when it comes to issues of healthcare and education, they're socialists. They are. And it works. I mean, look at the difference that Social Security has made in our society here. When it's business in Europe, they're capitalists, man. They are capitalists. They really are. But when it comes to, hiring and firing people, when it comes to healthcare, when it comes to, all of your education, building your roads, everything, they're socialist, which makes sense, doesn't it? Because if your society has all the basics taken care of, your society prospers, and your wealthiest among you prosper. Linda Orndorff says, we cannot let Kamala Harris get pulled right. They will try, and if we don't fight, they will succeed. Yeah, that's what we're looking at. It's the best we got, and I love Kamala Harris, and I'm fighting my ass off for her, but that is the political reality of the situation. She is a center-right candidate who is fighting with extremist right-wingers. And because democracy is what democracy is, she will have to make deals with right-wing extremists. So our policy won't be center-right. It will be far-right policy. That's how we ended up with Obamacare. The rest of the world understands that healthcare should just be paid for. It should be single payer, should be paid out of the government's till, and they tax you for it. It's the most efficient way because you don't have that big fat profit line involved, and they just do things that save money. Whereas health insurance companies are worried about profit and what they can take, they a lot of times end up costing our healthcare systems a lot more money. Because instead of nipping an illness in the bud and doing treatment immediately, they'll push it off. They won't want to pay for drugs. They want to pay for a good one is like Mounjaro and Ozempic and all of those. We have huge amounts of healthcare bills because of obesity in this country. Ozempic and Mounjaro up front wildly reduces obesity and saves us tons of money down the road. But health insurance companies don't want to pay for those drugs. When your healthcare is paid for single payer, all they weigh is it good for the bottom line? Is it good for the people? Are we going to save money in the long run? It's not about next quarter and how much are the stockholders going to get paid. So yeah, I am a liberal. I am a lefty. Never hit it. Always proud of it. About some things. All right, folks. Well, look, it's almost 11:45. We've gone almost 2 hours. I love spending time with you folks. I really do. And thank you so much for the support. I'm not kidding, folks. If it wasn't for you supporting the show, I would have to be doing something else and we wouldn't get this done. You're the reason. You make this possible. You're the only people that pay me. I'm not paid by Democrats. I'm not paid by George Soros. I'm not anything. Y'all's support really makes this happen. I hate to sound like PBS, but I'm just saying thank you is all I'm saying. Thank you for all the support. I appreciate it. Enjoy some Texas cities at night.